Guys, welcome to my ASMR channel. Today I wanted to do like a little lo-fi neighborhood gossip video because I really like watching them. So why not make one? I think the fun of ASMR is like when you're a kid and you're having a bedtime story read to you. So I love when people tell stories in ASMR. So I thought I would do my neighborhood. Mostly because I think the house that I live in is super weird and interesting. And my mom would tell you because because I have an overactive imagination. But I don't really care. I think it's super weird. So I'll tell you guys about it. It's probably because I just read Rosemary's Baby, so I'm like, obviously there's demon sacrifices happening here, of course. So obviously that's not what's happening, and that does not happen in real life. But I'll tell you all of my weird suspicions about my neighbors. So to set the scene, my mom and my little brother and I moved to this. It's a house, like kind of picture the house from Coraline. That's the setup. It's like very big, old Victorian style home that's been blocked off into different apartment buildings, kind of. And there's no other mother, but it's a little like haunted. Like the place is kind of falling apart a little bit. The heating is not great, so I'm not excited for the winter. But it's at least we don't live in like a super cold climate, so I think it'll be fine. But it's like a very old rundown place, and all of the people who live here, there's 4 other tenants besides us, have all lived here for a very long time. We're the newest people by like a very big margin. The people who lived in the place before us, so they had lived here for like 20 years probably, like all of their retirement years. And one of them died in the hospital, and then the other one died on hospice in like the building, which is normal. Like that's not scary. Like he was on hospice, he had a nurse here, like he was sick. It wasn't like supernatural or anything. Okay, I can admit that. And it's not like I think his ghost is like haunting us, although, you know, I hear the noises, but it's an old house. Like it's creaky, it's the wind. Realistically, I know that, but me and my brother kind of egg each other on. And like the other people who live here. Okay, so we live on the first floor in like the one blocked off area. There's 2 separate apartments on the first floor, then there's 2 apartments on the second floor, and then there's 1 apartment in the attic. And so the person who lives right next to us in the other apartment complex is a woman we'll call Edith. She is an older woman who was friends with the like older couple who lived here before. But she is not super friendly towards us. We met her like when we first moved in. She came and was like, yeah, I hope you guys aren't super loud. Which was kind of funny. It was like one of the first things she said to us. She was like, yeah, I hope you guys aren't loud because like I need to like keep my sleep schedule and stuff. And the like neighbors above us, she told us, she was like, the neighbors above you they both work nights, so you can't keep them up throughout the day. And we were like, okay, yeah, we try not to be loud, but like the walls are very thin, and also like the more we live here, the more I'm like, she's loud at night. So that's one thing about Edith. She has like weird sleeping patterns, which I think is normal for older people. Like I think a lot of the time when you get to be in your elderly years, because I think Edith's probably in like her 70s or her 80s, I think you get kind of like not to sound like I'm comparing elderly people to like younger people, but like it's kind of like you sleep for less periods of time more frequently. Like to me, it seems like her sleep schedule is like, because she's always up. Okay, she's always up at like 2 or 3 a.m. Like I always hear her and it always wakes me up. Like she's being that loud at the witching hour, no less. No, this is why my mom thinks I'm crazy. But like, she just has weird hours and she's louder than I think our family ever is. So check that out, Edith, you know? Anyway, so she's not super friendly. And the neighbors above us, we never see, like the one that lives right above us, which is the family that it's a couple. They're probably in, like, to me, they look like they're in their early 30s or late 20s, but I think they have to be older than that because they've lived here for like 20 years. But they look pretty young from when I've seen them in passing. But I really haven't seen them much because, again, they work nights, so they sleep throughout the day and then they leave at night. So I've seen them very infrequently. Like I've never talked to them before. But like they seem like a very young, attractive couple. Like I think she's a nurse because like the one time that I have seen her, she was in her scrubs and like had blood on her. So I was like, well, she's gotta be a nurse. Or she's a vampire. A vampire, a vampire. But no, obviously she's a healthcare professional and I don't know what he does, but again he also works nights. So we don't really see them or hear them very much. Which is like fine, that's kinda nice. And then the people who live next door to them is a family of this older couple with their 2 adult daughters. So I'll call the older couple Charles and Linda. And they, to me, they seem like they're Edith's age, but the daughters, who I'll call Caroline and Rebecca, they are only in like their 20s or their 30s, so they can't be actually Edith's age, but they look older, and I think I'm not sure, but I think it's because they have like health problems, and that's why their daughters live with them. Um, like I think it's because they're taking care of them, because Charles and Linda always like, I don't see them very often. They are very like tired and docile, like they always seem very drained, and it's like such a contrast between their daughters, who are like these very vivacious, like lively, energetic people. Like when I see Caroline and Rebecca, who I really like, I think they're really fun. They're and they both are like I consider them like these, they kind of fit like that boss babe narrative. They both are like business women who are very hard workers, which is again why I think they must live here to take care of their parents, because like I think they could obviously afford to live in their own places. But I think one of them works in fashion and the other works in business. But they're very like just like fun and interesting women. They are like in some ways difficult for me to be around personally because I'm a very introverted person, and sometimes I feel kind of drained by them and like how like intense they are, but I really like them. Like I think they're really fun. And they're the ones who have like told us the most about everyone else because they know everybody, because like they grew up in this building. Like I said, like everyone's lived here for a really long time who has lived here, so they know their next door neighbors pretty well, and they speak like very highly of them. They think that they're like a wonderful couple, and they really like Edith as well. Like they've told me that she's actually really sweet, and she just comes off that way because like her husband passed only like a couple years ago, and she used to be much more like friendly and like 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 she was very involved in their lives when they were kids, like baking them cookies, and she was friends with their parents and stuff. Like they really like Edith, so that makes me want to like Edith. But she just is always so confrontational every time. Like we've seen her. Like I don't know. I don't know. It's not that I dislike her because I think she's kind of like in like I love older women. I think they're so fun and like she's kind of a diva. But like we've never done anything. We're not loud, so I don't really understand why she has a problem with us. But whatever. Because Rebecca and Caroline like her, I've tried very hard to like her. And then the last person who lives upstairs, we'll call him David. He is the most suspicious of the people who live here, I think. He works with the landlord. Like they work at the same company. Like the landlord is very high up, I think, on the board, and so is David. And I think they've worked for the same place for a really long time. And they're probably pretty close friends. I have seen David on very few occasions. I've talked to him very briefly. He's like a very typical businessman, I feel like he seems pretty charismatic and nice, but like in a very surfacey way. And what's suspicious about him is he always has people coming to visit him, which I just think is weird. Like it's at all times. Like people will come at night, they'll come like anytime during the day, the afternoon, and like he works a lot, but it's like anytime he's not working, somebody's coming to visit him. And like it's probably family or business, but to me it's like it's always somebody different, and like they stay for a really long time and I never see them leave, you know. And it's like people of varying genders and ages, and like it's just a very diverse group of people. So I don't know. That is again one of the things where my mom was like, you have an overactive imagination of where you're like, oh, he's selling drugs or like up to something shady or something. But obviously that's not true, and he's probably just like a normal businessman. But you never know. So that's the tenants, like the people we live with, and then our landlord. I don't know what to call him. Let's call him Bob. He is a very, very, very wealthy man. He lives on a house like very near this property. Like we're neighbors to him, and it's a big house, like almost the same size as this place. That house is 5 people. But he lives alone, and I don't think he's ever been married. He doesn't have any kids to my knowledge. And he's not super friendly. Like we met him when we moved in, and like my mom talked to him obviously before she signed the lease and stuff. Like we found out about this place through a family member, because it's not like an easy place to rent to, because it's not like a normal apartment complex. It's a house that's owned like privately by this man. So it was kind of like a weird process to get into. It's a beautiful home in a lot of ways. Like there are parts of it that I really, really love. But it is like it's old and it's dilapidated and it's creepy. Like it makes weird noises, and like in my like sometimes I have nightmares about the place, like which is again my overactive imagination in full swing. But I've had nightmares about like even our neighbors and stuff, and I've had nightmares about like the people who lived here before that are like my brain subconsciously coming up with like stories about them. Like again, this is probably because I read Rosemary's Baby so recently, but I had like this nightmare about Edith and the couple who lived here before, which I've seen pictures of them because there was a picture of them on our like mantle when we first moved in that had been like kept here because I guess they didn't have like kids who like took their stuff. Like most of it, I guess the landlord just got rid of, and he left that picture of them, which we still have. Like not on the mantle, but we still have it in a box because it feels like disrespectful to throw it out, you know? But I had a nightmare about them and Edith about them like having like this ceremony or something. Again, this is fully because I just read Rosemary's Baby, but it was like they were having like this witchy ceremony with like candles and blood and like all this different stuff. I told my mom and she was like, "You're crazy. Don't tell your brother about that for one thing, because you're just gonna like make him crazier." But like, yeah, it's stupid. But in my head, I'm like, witches, witches. They're not obviously, but and it's probably disrespectful because they're no longer with us. But yeah, I've had nightmares about that, and then I've had nightmares about the couple who lives upstairs. Like, I had a dream one time about them like coming into our apartment, and the dream was weird because I was sleeping, but like I was woken up, and it felt very very real. Like in the nightmare, it felt so real that I was like woken up from my sleep and I like saw them. These people I've never talked to before and I've only seen in passing. Like, I had a nightmare that they came into our house and were like trying to like feed on my mom. Again, this is my subconscious of thinking that they're vampires. Of course, again, super overactive imagination over here. But I had a nightmare that they came into our house and bit my mom, and like that was the end of the nightmare. Like they like one of them, the man, bit my mom, and then I woke up. So obviously that didn't really happen. Like honestly I got up and like checked on my mom and she was asleep, obviously, and it was nothing. But yeah, I have had dreams about that, and I just feel like this is such a weird place to live. It's just like it's beautiful again, and like it's so charming in a lot of ways. It's not great for letting air in or out. It definitely needs like a lot of work, but the work would be hard because it might like take away the charm if they tried to modernize this place. Um, I'm sad to think about like people who live here passing away and like it getting changed or something like that, even though I think the people who live here are weird. They're weird. But also in a fun way. And I'm really happy that like our family member suggested us to live here. I think it's a really interesting place, and the rent is really not like bad considering that we have 3 bedrooms and like a bathroom and a like pretty big kitchen and like our own space. And again, like our neighbors don't really mess with us. They're not super loud. There's things that I think are weird about them, but again, that's because of my super overactive imagination. But like in my head, I'm living in a haunted house, you know, but I'm not. I gotta stop reading my little horror books, obviously, but overall, it's a cool place to live, and I really like it, and I'm excited to live here for the time being. We're not planning on being here long. I'm not ending up like Edith and living here my whole entire life. But for now, like it's pretty cool and it's beautiful, and it works in my family's budget. Like me and my mom, you know, we're working to live here. And like we don't want to move. Like we moved from a house to here that we lived in with my dad before my parents like have ended up getting divorced. But we didn't want to move too far out of this area, which it's not a city. Like we're living in like a pretty rural area, but we didn't want to move super far away, but it was hard because it was like we can't afford any of the houses in the area, but there's really only houses. Like there's not apartment complexes in this area because it's rural. So it really like was an opportunity that worked out that we can still live in this area, so my brother can get through the school year, and then we can move by like the time he's going to high school probably. Like he's only in 7th grade, so I think it would be good if he could at least finish out middle school year. But I mean, we'll see. Like again, the place has worked for us for the past couple months that we've lived here, so um I'll keep thinking about those nightmares. My brother too, actually. So my brother, like I said, is in 7th grade. So it's kind of weird that, but it's probably because I've told him things that I shouldn't about being like off put about this area, but he has had a nightmare about Edith too, about her being in his closet, in his closet, in his closet, in his closet, which obviously did not happen. But like he came into my room one night and like was like, hey, like someone's in my room. I think that old lady is in my room. And I was like, okay. Like I came in, opened the closet. She obviously wasn't there, and I sat down with him and I was like, I am not going to tell you my little scary things anymore because you're still a kid. Like I didn't say that to him obviously, but I thought it. I was like, oh, my mom was right. I shouldn't be like talking about this nonsense to you because to me it's like silly and fun, but to him it's more serious. And like he's kind of old to be like, there's a monster in my closet, but it's my fault because I've been like putting it on him. So yeah, I need to, like, this is an opportunity for me to tell you guys all these things so you can tell me how crazy I am. But yeah, obviously she was not in his closet. That did not happen. Even though I do think she's a weird woman, but also a diva, like I said. So, yeah, that's my neighborhood gossip. I feel like it's pretty different than most people's because of the fact that we're living in like this weird place with our weird business landlord, whatever the fuck. But I hope you enjoyed it. Obviously, this was all a story. I do not live in a haunted house, but I hope you enjoyed it. And